Greening, they say it's a lie. Lagos State has developed parks and gardens, yo, to make us healthy, secure and relaxed. Now so it's supposed to be. They have planted trees to reduce the risk of climate change. Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency, you are wonderful. Mashallah, mashallah, blessing from Lagos State, yo. Eko, koni baje. Lagos is fine, define, define.
Nothing has more profound effect on man than the environment he lives. This perhaps explains the global concern by humanity on the problems of global warming and climate change. It is the desire of every nation to industrialize, but this effort at development has led to an increase in human-made gases that alter the atmosphere's insulating effects. Today, biodiversity, the variety of plant and animal species living in the Earth's diverse ecosystems, is affected by the greenhouse effect, the phenomenon producing warming when gases released by burning fossil fuels act as a blanket, thereby increasing the Earth's temperatures. Lagos, a highly cosmopolitan city that has often been tagged as Nigeria's melting pot because it houses people from all corners of the country, has never been found wanting in seeking local solutions to global problems. Government's concern for the environment in Lagos is legendary. When Captain Alfred Maloney, a botanist, was appointed governor of Lagos Colony in 1886, he encouraged Africans and Europeans to develop gardens to add to the beauty of the amenities in the emerging city of Lagos. Maloney established a botanical garden at Ebutemeta, known to the locals as Ogba Elefo, in which flowers and vegetables were planted. The garden flourished in making Lagos a garden city until 1895, when the construction of the railway line into the hinterland ran through the garden, and a large part of it had to be handed over to the Railway Corporation. By the second decade of the 20th century, the focus of the colonial government had shifted from flower gardens to sanitation, slum clearance and swamp reclamation, as well as water.
Greening, they say it's a lie. Lagos State has developed parks and gardens, yo, to make us healthy, secure and relaxed. Now so it's supposed to be. They have planted trees to reduce the risk of climate change. Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency, you are wonderful. Mashallah, mashallah, blessing from Lagos State, yo. Eko, koni baje.
Successive administrations in Lagos State since its creation in 1967 have had many environmental problems to grapple with, such that beautification with parks and gardens were not prominent. In 2007, the spirit of the colonial governor Maloney was evoked when Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola mooted the idea of beautifying Lagos with the planting of flowers and ornamental trees. This move was a revival of a thriving tree planting campaign which started under former Commissioner of the Environment, Muiz Banire. During the Banire days, the government embarked on the planting of ornamental trees in selected locations across the metropolis.
I had the opportunity of visiting that country called Singapore. And if you have visited that place, you will know certainly that this is how life should be in terms of gardening. The green there is about 90% of the environment. that you see there, and you find people living up to 80, 90 at the barest minimum. And why is that so? At some point in time, you always need something in form of carbon sequestrator, something that will be able to filter the air for you so that you are able to elongate your lives. Because in an environment such as one, particularly that is heavily polluted, we need something that will be able to filter some of the carbon in the environment, particularly apart from other infectious air in the environment. So we decided that one of the very best ways to address the problem would be, of course, to embark on greening. When you have green all over you, that is able at least to take away the carbon from the environment as much as possible and reduce the threat of respiratory diseases that afflicts the people. And beyond that, again, there is a need for us to also have an environment that is attractive, that is sightly, that is capable of attracting foreign inflow and able to give a pride to the city itself. And that also formed part of the reason why we decided that we must go on the greening experiment. In addition, again, you must also recognize the fact that this time you are back on greening, you are already creating an economy on its own also. Because I recall vividly that apart from the horticulturists that were in business seriously and substantially during that period, we also had the benefit accruing to people such as weather, people producing interlocking blocks, for example, and generally also, I recall vividly, were able to take a lot of miscreants away from the street by giving them the assignment, for example, of overseeing, watching over some of the trees that we planted on various highways in the state. At least to each one of them, then I recall we were assigning about 500 of them to oversee, just by way of watching that nobody approves them. And also the women, were giving them about 100 to work 3 times a day by placing a tank, a water tank, at the middle of every 100 for them to go and fetch water and water them in the morning, in the afternoon. So a lot of them were equally engaged at the same time. And people started even veering into horticulture.
The introduction of community gardens by the Fashola administration bolstered the fledgling annual tree planting campaign, whose zest thinned out soon after the ceremonial launching. Flowers and tree planting now have a meaning. Horticulture, the science and art of growing plants for consumption and happiness, for the health of communities, and for the integration of nature into human civilization, has now been made more prominent with the spread of community gardens in Lagos State. Governor Fashola's passion for environmental renewal and preservation informs the greening initiative of the state government, a deliberate effort to reduce the negative effects of climate change. Commissioner for the Environment, Tunji Bello, recalls that the aggressive tree planting campaign began in 2008 to complement the landscaping and beautification programs was a carryover from the Tinubu administration. The task of building a greener and healthier Lagos, implementing the greening policy of the Lagos State government towards the restoration of lost culture of greening and reawakening the consciousness of the citizenry to a green environment now rests with an agency. Welcome to the world of Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency, Laspark. Established in accordance with the Lagos State Parks and Gardens Law of 2011. The Lagos State Parks and Gardens Agency, Laspark, was established in 2011 to give meaning to the state government's policy on the development, maintenance, and management of parks, recreation centers, gardens, and playing grounds, and open spaces in the state. The agency also has among its goals the mitigation of the effect of climate change, reclamation of open spaces from all agents of environmental degradation, and ensuring environmentally sustainable, healthier, and beautiful society. Laspark's Managing Director, Mrs. Titi Anibaba, explains the reasons for greening Lagos.
One is to restore the lost glory of Lagos as a beautiful state where we used to have parks, recreational centers, we used to have flower shows, race courses, have parks, and have love gardens. Number 2 is to act as the cheapest form to mitigate the impact of climate change, which is now a global threat to humanity. And number 3 is to enhance the aesthetics of the environment and conserve biological diversity.
The greening initiative of the Lagos State government has been driven by community gardens and parks erected across the state, as seen in scenic parks and gardens at Ojota, local airport loop garden Ikeja, Orilope Park at Igondo, and the median along Ikodu Road between Palm Grove and Onipanu, as well as Ogudu. Toje Bello, Commissioner for the Environment, explains the creation and mandate of Laspark.
There are always people who are not disciplined enough, who will just go to park and think they can just use it like a motor garage or anything and so on. So we must prevent those people. We are preventing those people so that we have to provide conducive atmosphere or conducive space for millions of who will be willing to use it legitimately, use it the way it should be used, who are ready to comply with all the rules and regulations and so on. So rather than allowing people to just spoil what you are doing and so on, you must put people around, you must put the monitors, ensure that that machinery is able to combat infiltration or whatever or unnecessary trespass.
Community gardens offer a wide spectrum of benefits to a community and serve a diverse group of people. Because gardening is considered a moderate to intense form of exercise, participants in community gardening experience and benefit from physical activity and stress relief.
This is a very good initiative on the part of the Lagos State government. If we can have more trees like this in Lagos State and in the whole of the country, I think people will live longer. Yeah.
To come in is free and everything around here is free.
And also, it also makes one to feel happy. Whenever you come here, you enjoy the breeze. A lot of things.
Much of the goals and objectives of Laspark extol the benefits of community garden, as explained by Dr. Titi Anibaba.
I'll say we have made a huge achievement concerning greening. I'll tell you that we have captured over 297 sites, landscape and beautified in the state, inclusive of medians, roundabouts, parks and gardens. We have gone further to categorize our parks and gardens into 3. We have the scenic parks, where you just go to admire nature. You won't have sitting furniture there. And these are to reclaim degraded areas which used to be landfill sites, block makers, workshop, degraded areas, abode for miscreants and street urchins. But now they have been beautified. Then you have the public event parks, where we have parks where people can have exhibition, have different shows, have small parties like birthday parties for their children. Then you have the community parks, which are close to communities, where people can go and do exercise, relax, both the young and old, to have a place to relax and recreate.
The greening initiatives of Lagos, as reflected in community gardens, can benefit the community by converting neglected spaces into positive uses, since underutilized and empty spaces are readily exploited by criminals. Such community parks have been completed by Laspark and handed over to the community for the usage and maintenance at Canal Street, Surulere, and Alao Akabashono Park, Bagada Phase 2. To enhance the aesthetics of the environment and to encourage citizens' appreciation of nature, Laspark has erected scenic parks and gardens at Dolphin, Ikoyi, Ojota, Ikorodu Road Median, Onike, Igondo, Ogudu Road Median, and Pensinema Triangular Lay-by at Agege. These are complemented by public event parks designed for relaxation, recreation, and exhibitions. Such parks are located at Alausa near the State Secretariat, the Muri-Okwonla Park along Ozumbambadiwe in Victoria Island, Oshodi Heritage Garden, and Orilope Park by the Igondo General Hospital. Dr. Titi Anibaba explains the gains of the state government's greening initiative.
That the greening initiative in Lagos has created over 69,000 jobs, right from those who clear the sites, electricians, bricklayers, sculptors, artists, landscape experts, horticulturists, water tankers, and so on and so forth. And we have all of them documented with all of these projects that were created during this administration.
Where gardens have been known to have actually increased property values in the neighborhood where they are located, they provide a place for residents to retreat from the noise and commotion of urban environments. This too finds justification for the tree planting program. While the Green Lagos initiative is anchored on the policy thrust of the government's economic sustainability through infrastructural renewal and poverty alleviation, Laspark's strategy in executing the initiative includes teamwork and participation through collaboration with stakeholders. This is confirmed by the Environment Commissioner, Tunji Bello, in his comment on the private sector participation in the Greening Lagos initiative.
You look at Obalende, what we have done in Obalende now. Obalende, the person who greened the Obalende, around the Obalende park, who did the greening, was the advertising agency. So what we did was to say, okay, we are going to give you this place for a certain number of years for you. And then the thing is, so you have exclusive jurisdiction over this area to place your billboards. Go and link up with LASA. LASA will regulate how you place your billboards and so on. But you will be the only person who can place your billboards for a certain number of years for greening that particular area. So those are some of the methods we have devised to sustaining some of this greening program. While they are working